All right, are we good? Should we do this? Okay. Hi, everybody. Oh yeah. Okay. All right. So I'm here to talk to you about Finji Games. Finji Games is a little game developer and publisher in Austin, Texas. It's run by my wife and I. And we've worked on a bunch of games over the years. We made a game called Cannonball, and it's true. It's true. We worked on a game called Hundreds, and I contributed to a game called Fez. I made this framework called Flixel. We've worked on a bunch of other things. This weird game about dying alone in outer space called Capsule, and a weird game about dice in outer space called Cubic Space, and a promotional game for the Hunger Games movie, and a promotional game for Old Spice starring Dikembe Mutombo, and I work with the NYU Game Center on their incubator project, and an advisor for GDC Advisory Board. And right now we're working on a project called Overland, and we're also working on a project called Night in the Woods. Finji is a small company, and we're about 50% supported by contract work and about 50% supported by our own internal development efforts. And our mission is to make new games and create new opportunities for game developers. And we have some kind of rules for our studio. No clones, no predatory business models, taking creative risks, and somehow having the things we make stand out and look unique to people. We do some internal projects like Cannonball, like Hundreds, like Overland, and we kind of have some rules or traditions for these internal projects where we really want them to be deep, and that might be thematically or emotionally or mechanically or whatever, but we really want there to be some kind of real substance there. We really like games to be accessible. Most people don't have to learn how to read books again just to read a new book, and I think that's important for people to have new experiences that are meaningful to them. And it's also very important to us to create games with a wide variety of people from different kinds of backgrounds. And so Overland, the Overland team is 60% women, which is not a super common ratio for the game industry at large right now. And that's kind of a complicated process to get going right now, but it's really worth doing, and it does not take nearly as... If you looked at the number of women in the game industry right now, you would think it's an impossible problem to solve. It's so hard, and it took us like an extra day or something. It just doesn't take that much effort. We also do external projects like Night in the Woods and Panoramical are projects where we are not the primary developer, we're not the primary creator of the game, but we're still helping out in different ways. We think of ourselves as collaborators, especially on a small team of people. You don't always have everyone that you need to sort of do the job right. And so Night in the Woods team has 2 or 3, maybe 4 people, depending on your count, who are all great animators, great programmers, great writers, great musicians. They don't have a great lawyer. They don't have a great accountant, stuff like that. So one thing that we do when we're working with external teams on these external projects is a lot of paperwork, a lot of sort of administration stuff, a lot of contracts. Another thing we do is try to be a quote-unquote meat shield between the developer and publishers or platform holders like Steam, like Sony, like Apple, like Google, like Amazon, Microsoft. And like Sony's been really great to work with lately, especially in the US, but they're still a huge machine that does not totally understand how to communicate to 2 people who are already super swamped making something beautiful. So we try to help out with that. We try to give a little bit of feedback on people's projects. Do you guys know this commercial about tighten up the graphics on level 3? Yeah, that's us. We've been making games on and off since like 2006. And so sometimes there are tricky things or problems things that we've done wrong in the past where we can help people out. Sometimes we're able to make introductions to people. Maybe we know, oh, this is, you know who you should work with as a musician on this project. This would be great. Or you know who would make a great trailer for this game would be this person. Let's get you introduced. And we're kind of taking our first forays into marketing also. Marketing is something that we've been able to do through our existing industry contacts and through Twitter and through our websites and all that stuff, but we're also starting to explore things like doing big fancy trade show booths and merchandise and stuff like that. So I'm wrapping up a little bit early, but I was hoping that would leave a little bit of time for questions before we move on to the next speaker. Does that sound good? Maybe? Yes? 5 minutes? 5 minutes for questions? And it can be about anything about games we've made, people we're working with now, or... Oh, okay. And we have a mic, too.
Can you tell us more about Flixel, man? You're a fucking genius, man.
Yeah, Flixel is a open source, MIT licensed, which means you can just download it, and you could, if you wanted to sell Flixel to someone for some reason, you could just do that. You could just download it and pretend it cost money to do that. And because of that, it's kind of grown up a little bit beyond itself, and so there are ports of Flixel to different frameworks now, and I think one of the more powerful ports right now is something called Haxi Flixel, which compiles natively to Windows, Mac, and is in the process of, I think, being supported for compiling natively on consoles and some other cool destinations. But it's a 2D game making framework that's very open. It just gives you some handy ways of organizing graphics and game objects and doing collision and doing particles and all that stuff. So if you're doing a game jam and you want something that's pretty easy to pick up, but pretty powerful, Flixel might be a good thing for that. But I'm not actively developing Flixel anymore because the community has sort of taken it over and is doing a great job. But I might make something similar again in the future. I guess that's it.
How do you guys do so many things at the same time? Having a small team and helping other indies, developing games at the same time, making contract work. How do you manage all this?
No TV, no sleep.
Okay, I get it.
It sounds like a ton of stuff, but a lot of this has been spread out over a long period of time too. It's my wife and I working together, and like our Overland team is about 5 people, but they're distributed all over the place, and my wife and I are only 2 of the people on that team. You know, like Night in the Woods and Panoramical are both very self-sufficient projects. They really just need help making sure that they're not going to like get in tax trouble with the government, and that their copyrights are protected in a really basic way. So something like Night in the Woods is not necessarily a daily project for us. It's oh hey, it's Friday, we need to do a little more work getting ready for that trade show in a month or 2. But we have a lot of to-do lists and a lot of things, and sometimes we just go to bed too late.
Okay. Thanks.
Hi, I would like to know how you choose the project you are working on, the other people you work with, and the game you published. Have you a lot of demands, or is it just networking?
We've got some things that we're looking at that have just been emails that were sent to us out of the blue. Usually we're looking kind of for a variety of things, but a lot of them are the sort of values or rules that we listed up there. Usually we're not looking for games that are like hyper violent. We're not looking for free-to-play games usually. We're just kind of, we tend to look for things that feel like games that maybe we would have designed, or things that kind of fit in with our other games. There's a sense that maybe there'll be some value to that, because people go like, oh, I liked those other few games they made that had these shared values. Now this new game, even though they didn't develop it, because they're publishing it, because it has these similarities, maybe I'll try that out too. Some of them are games that friends were working on. Some of them, like I said, like before, are projects from total strangers. And some of them are multi-part. Panoramical is actually like a collaboration between those developers, Indie Fund, us, and Polytron. And we're all just sort of doing a little piece. It's one nice thing about the current game industry is all those things you used to have to get from one place, and now you can kind of get funding from one place and marketing support from another place and some admin and accounting help from another place. So I think we're out of time. Thank you so much for letting me chat to you guys, and I'll be around all weekend.